Hey there, beautiful ladies. Today I want to talk about menopause as a puberty in reverse. And I think when women hit menopause, a lot of times our mind just goes to hormonal changes. But there are changes in not only the body, but the mind and the spirit as well when we hit this midlife point or around the age of 40, give or take some years. And one of the best ways you can kind of look at this more holistically is you can look at it as puberty in reverse. So when we were in our younger years, in our teens, when we were hitting puberty, there were changes to not only our body, but our mind and who we were and our spirit. We really started developing our character, our likes and our dislikes, our opinions. All of that was really awakened and shown. And so there were all sorts of ups and downs and roller coasters with puberty. And everybody knew that about you. You know, if you were moody, if you were kind of doing some crazy things, it was expected. You are in those teenage years, you're going through puberty, that's expected. Now, the exact same intensity of change happens to us when we hit our 40s and beyond, yet it's not quite as accepted and recognized as it was in our teens. So, along with all of the body and hormonal changes that happen, you may also notice that your mind, your opinion, your spirit changes as well. You may notice that for the first time in decades, you're more inner focused. You are asking deeper questions like, is this all there is to life? Or who am I really? What do I like? What are my dislikes? Because the last couple decades have been so outer focused for most women, building a career, building a family, just really focusing on outward things. And then biologically, we start turning more inward as we hit midlife. And so these questions that come up are deeper. And also, once for a lot of women, when we look inward and we really face our truth and we really see things for what they are and we start to question who we are, a lot of times it's uncomfortable to really face your truth. We don't like what we see when we look inside. And it's really, it can create this uncomfortable, kind of restless feeling within us. And so a lot of times women, when they hit midlife, notice that they start using unhealthy coping behaviors. So maybe they start overeating or over drinking, or maybe they've been somebody who has been kind of an overeater their whole life, but now it's really amped up. So there's an exacerbation of bad habits or a creation of new bad habits. And all that is just a coping mechanism for some of this pain that we're facing head on, that were kind of shoved under the rug for the past couple of decades. And so this beautiful midlife awakening, because that's what it really is if you lean into it, for a lot of women starts to turn into a midlife crisis. That's where we get the term midlife crisis. Just like in our teenage years, coming into our own and becoming adults can be a beautiful awakening for a lot of people, but it can also be for others more destructive and more of a detrimental kind of negative experience. So what I want for all women is to take their midlife experience and turn it into a beautiful awakening. And it doesn't matter what your circumstance is in life, it can be a beautiful awakening as long as you have the right tools and the right support. And it takes a holistic approach to turn this into awakening. And I've made this my mission to help women with this. You see, I helped women for over 7 years with weight loss and hormonal imbalances, women over 40. So I have a ton of experience for those women who really need the hormonal and the diet support. And if they want to lose weight, I have so much experience with that. And through that business that I ran for over 7 years, I learned a lot about the emotional, spiritual parts of midlife and what that looks like. And as I'm a midlife woman myself, so with all of my own experiences, I'm able to holistically guide women into their midlife awakening. And just like our teenage years, where this kind of rebirth or this awakening can be kind of a make or break moment. Depending on how you handle it, it can affect you for the rest of your life. This is no different. Depending on how you take this awakening, you can turn the next part of your life into something beautiful, or you can also make choices that can really affect your life long term. So I want to really make sure that doesn't happen to any of you. And I want this to be a beautiful experience and kind of look at it as another, like a rebirth. Like this is a kind of your another shot at life. And some of the most beautiful things I've seen with women in this midlife awakening is that they, all of your drama, all of your shit is forced to come up to the surface. So you're actually being forced to face it, because no longer is your soul going to allow you to stuff it. So a lot of times people are like, well, women, my wife or whoever, they hit midlife and they just turn crazy. Well, there's a good chance that that's because her soul isn't going to allow stuffing anymore, and everything's being brought to the surface, and she's not going to put up with stuffing things down anymore. And she's not going to put up with compromising. And she is she's being forced to face things head on. And it can be really ugly, but at the same time, it's beautiful too. Because once it comes to the surface and you deal with it, then it's gone. And a lot of the coping mechanisms, the over drinking, the overeating, the overspending money, the relationship issues, they just fall by the wayside because you aren't stuffing things anymore. And I really help women look at those things that are surfacing, because a lot of times we don't even know what they are. All we know is that we feel restless and uncomfortable and moody and bitchy, and we don't even know why. It takes somebody to help you uncover that, to help you see what you can't see. So I am going to keep talking about these kinds of things on this channel. We're going to be talking about kind of the holistic approach. We're going to be talking about hormones and health and physical care, along with the mental, spiritual components as well, because it takes a recognition of all three. So I would love to hear your comments about what you're noticing about yourself as you're entering midlife, if you've been in menopause, whatever you want to call it, around the age of 40 and older. What have you experienced? Are your truths being surfaced? Are you being forced to look at your truths? Do you have a calling, a yearning to start looking inward? If so, it's a beautiful thing, and I would love to help you through it. So thank you so much for listening, and I will see you in the next video.